Welcome back, aviators. Today we're going to do a quick trip from Ramona Airfield up to San Bernardino, and we're going to be navigating using VORs, and we're going to go through the Homeland VOR. A few notes on the route for this trip. We'll be departing from Ramona. We're then going to follow the needle once we tune into the VOR and get lined up. We're going to fly a northern heading. As we go north, we're going to see lots of visual landmarks. We'll note the highest elevation along the way that we're going to need to watch out for is around 5,000 feet, so we'll be cruising at 6,500 feet. As we come over a small mountain range here, we'll see the town of Temecula. We'll be able to also identify this by following the 15, which is a very noticeable highway. When we're at Temecula, we'll notice some key landmarks. We'll be able to see Vail Lake and Lake Skinner, which is a series of two lakes that are right next to each other. And then just ahead of that, we'll see a large reservoir called Diamond Valley Lake. You might recognize this from a previous video where we flew to Hemet Ryan Field. In addition, we're going to fly nearly right over the French Valley Airport. As we continue on this route, we're going to fly directly to the VOR. When we traverse over the VOR, we're going to then turn a slightly more northward head and fly directly over the March Airfield. The ceiling of March Airfield is at 5,500, and since we'll be flying at 6,500, we'll be above their airspace, so we don't necessarily need to contact them for anything. After we pass over March airspace, you can see is a very short distance between the airspace of March and the San Bernardino airspace, and since we're going to have around 4,000 feet to descend from, it would probably be easiest if we take a slightly northeastward heading to get rid of some of the elevation, and then that'll also give us time to switch over and contact San Bernardino for landing instructions. We can see at San Bernardino, we have a very long runway to land at. The runway is 624, and if you look very closely, the length of this runway is around 10,000 feet. Glancing over at the POH, we can determine if this is enough runway or not. What we'll do is we'll look at the short field landing form, and we'll see the airport of San Bernardino is at around 1,000 feet, so we can use this line here. And assuming that we are in standard conditions, we can see that we'll need around 550 feet for a ground roll, and at worst case, if there was a 50-foot obstacle we had to clear, we would need around 1,300 feet. And just to be extremely safe, to really try to understand the performance limitations of this plane, if we happen to be at 8,000 feet, where the air is a lot thinner, we would require around 1,700 feet in the worst case scenario. So even at the worst case scenarios for the performance of this plane, we know that the runway nearly an order of magnitude longer than we need. So we'll be okay with the length of the runway here at San Bernardino. So today for this flight, we'll be using VORs to navigate us to our destination. We're going to be using this Homeland VOR. To use this VOR, what we first need to do is we need to tune into it. We can see the frequency here in this box for the Homeland VOR. So we're going to tune into our Navcom 1, 112.05 to get the VOR. Following that, we're going to want to set the radial. So what radial do we need? Well, we're going to be flying in, as mentioned from the navlog, on a northward heading. We're going to be flying a heading of 330. So we know that we want to tune in to the 330 radial on the VOR receiver. The VOR receiver will look like this. After we're tuned into it, we're going to want to take the OBS knob and we're going to tune it into 330. Now the last thing that can be really confusing with VOR navigation, it certainly took me a while to understand, is this to and from indication. So as a quick review of this, I want to explain a little bit of how to know which indication you want to see while flying by VORs. Well, what I like to do is I like to draw this little visual aid here to try to know which direction that we want to be flying. So in this case, we can go ahead and find the radial that we were wanting to fly. We'll get this lined up. We'll put the center of it directly on the VOR, so we can see that we'll want to be flying the 330 heading. And if this to and from here is going to be where your relative position of the plane is. So if we are if we are on the back side of this line, anywhere in this area, we're going to see a to heading. And we could be to the left or to the right of the line. That's going to cause the needle on the VOR receiver to swing from one side or the other. That indicates to us if we need to move the plane to the left or right to get back in line with the radial. Though, besides that, the to or from indication will be the same as long as we are behind the VOR relative. This also means if we were flying in the opposite direction, if we were flying south here, and we were still tuned into the 330 radial, we would still have a to indication. And so the converse is true. If we're tuned in to this VOR and we have the radial set of 330 and we're on this side of the VOR, on this side of the line here, anywhere over here, whether over here, or dead lined up on the radial, we're going to see a from indication. And as you can imagine, when you traverse the VOR to the other side, you'll see the sign flip to 2. Just like in the flight today, we'll be flying in the 2 heading, and then we fly directly over the VOR, we'll see the sign flip to from. When we see that happen, we'll go ahead and tune in the OBS to the next radial that we're going to fly. When we pass over the VOR, we're going to fly an outbound radial of around 332, and we'll follow that heading on the way into San Bernardino. Here we are at Ramona Airfield with our Cessna 172. Let's go ahead and get this plane started. All right, so first things first, we'll look at the checklist. We have our pre-flight inspection is complete, seatbelts are on, carb heat is off, fuel selector is on both. All right, we're going throttle 1/8, master switch is coming on, circuit breakers all look good, beacon switch is coming on, mixture is going full rich, primer is in and lock, we yelled outside, hey clear prop, go ahead and get on the brakes and we'll go magnetos both to start, then back to both. Throttle down to 800 RPMs roughly. Oil pressure looks good. We have vacuum suction, that's good. Our flaps are all the way up. Visually, we can see that as well. Our ammeter is positive, and we'll go ahead and lean the mixture for taxi. Engine gauges all look good. They're in the green. Avionics switch coming on. We'll go ahead and flip our nav light on, put our taxi lights on, or we'll wake up our Garmin's. Now the Garmin's are on, go enter, enter. Enter, enter. For now, we'll go ahead and get the ATIS and get ground set up here. So here, Ramona, the ATIS is 132.025. We'll switch over and we'll plug in the ground, which is 121.65.
Ramona Airport, ATIS information X-ray, 1853 Zulu, wind 250 at 6, visibility 10, 2,900 scattered, temperature 23, dew point 13. Altimeter 2994.
2994.
Arriving and departing runway 27. Visual approaches in use. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact that you have information X-ray.
X-ray. Can we get our altimeter set?
13. Altimeter 2994.
2994.
Arriving and departing runway 27. Visual approaches in use. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions.
Alright, we have information X-ray, so we're good there.
We'll
go ahead and flip over to the ground and we'll get tower loaded up. Tower's on 119.875. 119.875, alright. So we should be good there. One other thing we're going to go ahead and do, let's go ahead and get our navigation set up. Normally do this at the run-up, but since we know what we're going to be looking for today, we go ahead and get it set up now just to save time. So we're going to go ahead and set up on our nav radio 1 the VOR that we're going to be using today, the Hotel Delta Foxtrot VOR. So it's going to be on 112.05. So we'll switch to nav 1. You can see we're setting it right here. We're going to 112.05 to 05. So this is going to be tuning into the VOR. So we'll switch that.
Sterling 423 contact tower.
Looks like our navigation is now on nav. If it was still on GPS, it would be set like this. Maybe set CDI. We're gonna follow the needle today using VOR, and we're gonna go get the heading set. So the radial we're going to be flying to this VOR is going to be a 332. So let's see, that'd be 4, 5, 6. So right about there. It's close enough. So our navigation's set, our radios are set. Let's go ahead and contact ground. Ramona ground, Cessna 733 Delta Kilo with X-ray, holding short of Alpha, ready to taxi. 3 Delta Kilo.
733 Delta Kilo, Ramona ground. What's your aircraft type and direction of departure request?
We are a Cessna 172 and we're going to depart to the north.
733 Delta Kilo, Ramona ground, runway 27, taxi via Alpha.
Runway 27, taxi via Alpha, 3 Delta Kilo. Alright, we'll go ahead and test our brakes. Brake test is good. Alright, we'll go ahead and do our run up right here. Switch over to the checklist. Fuel selector is on both. Alright, flight instruments. Airspeed is indicating 0, wings are flat and level, altimeter is set, turn coordinator is center, the heading indicator is set, and vertical airspeed is 0 as we would expect.
314 Victor Mike, Los Angeles Tower.
Alright, flight controls, we'll do the box. Left up, down, right up, down, elevator, up and down. Rudders are working.
Victor Mike, looks like you're at Foxtrot. Are you Foxtrot or full length Bravo?
Alright, flight controls are free and collect.
I am right.
Elevator trim.
On the displaced threshold, according to my map, it says Charlie 1.
Elevator trim is set for takeoff.
Okay.
Alright, mixers are going full rich.
You are correct. Sorry, I didn't see the other side.
Throttle.
Array 14 Victor Mike, cancel takeoff clearance, standby.
Standing by, 4 Victor Mike.
Throttle's going to 1700.
Array 14 Victor Mike,
Check the
are
car
you
peak.
able to go full length?
Good drop.
Affirmative, yes, 4 Victor Mike.
Alright, let's get you off down the full length.
Magneto.
Taxi at Bravo, hold short.
Oh, a little bit more.
Bravo short 25 right, 814 Victor Mike.
Alright, 1700, there we go. Alright, left mag. Drop of 100, back to both. Right mag. Equal drop, that's good, that's what we want to see. Back to both. Our vacuum is in the green, we're good there. Ammeter is positive, good to see it. Engine gauges look good, oil pressure is good. Alright, throttle back to 800. Alright, mixture will lean for taxi. That shouldn't take us very long. Alright, we already have our comms set. We have tower ready to go.
Maria ground, November 9837.
Our navigation is set, so we're good there.
Romeo requesting departure to the east.
Doors and windows are latched. Set there. Takeoff brief
9837
is
Lima,
complete.
Maria ground, Sagan, your position, what type aircraft?
No time for takeoff.
FBO,
And we'll turn strobes on.
Skyhawk 9837 Lima.
And landing lights on.
You know which FBO?
It'd be the south side.
South one off of Battelle.
Here we go, and we'll switch.
My apologies, I think I'm in parking. I'm by,
We'll switch over to tower. Alright, we're on tower, 119.875. Ramona Tower, Cessna 733 Delta Kilo, holding short of runway 27, ready for departure.
Number 733 Delta Kilo, Ramona Tower, right crosswind departure is approved. Runway 27, cleared for takeoff, wind 2506.
Right crosswind departure, runway 273 Delta Kilo.
Santa Barbara clearance, good morning. Diamond 709 Papa Lima, request files.
Mixer's going full rich. Landing taxi lights coming off.
709 Papa Lima, Santa Barbara clearance, cleared to Long Beach Airport, flight runway heading.
Right crosswind departure.
Swang, then as filed. Maintain 3,000, expect 5,000 within 5 minutes.
Alright, going full
Santa
throttle.
Barbara departure 120.55, squawk 5144.
Cleared Long Beach, fly runway heading, vectors Quanglands.
Airspeed's alive. Rotate at 55. Vacuum's in the green. Oil's in the green. Looking
Santa
good.
Papa Lima, read that correct. Expect runway 15 left.
We are leaving the ground.
Papa Lima.
Number 4 Victor, Mike, contact SoCal departure.
SoCal departure, Diamond 814 Victor Mike.
Mike, SoCal
Right
departure.
crosswind departure.
I didn't know I had to. It's climb at 1,500, climb in via 6.
Number 4 Victor, Mike, yeah, anytime you check in on a new frequency and you're not at your assigned altitude, your altitude needs to be verified. So it's always your present altitude with your altitude instruction, whether climb or descend. Were you given climb via SID or climb via SID except an altitude?
I was going to climb via SID and then a higher altitude after the SMO radio.
What was your climb instruction provided?
Climb via SID at 4,000. Radar vector Seal Beach.
Number 814 Victor Mike, SoCal departure, roger, radar contact. Should be climb via SID, accept, maintain 4,000, the appropriate 3,000.
Understood, 4 Victor Mike.
Alright, made a mistake here. Our nav is 112.05, not 112.5. So let's try that. Alright. Cool, so it's saying we're just slightly to the right of the needles, so go ahead and adjust that. Try to fly to the radial. You see, the radars, the GPS says we're to the right, but
right, taxi via Charlie.
we'll see if these line up the closer we get. Climbing 500 feet a minute to 6,500 feet.
Left 150.
Legion 383 contact departure.
09 Papa Lima, shoulder 15 right, ready for departure. Number 2 departure, Legion 383.
Number 709 Papa Lima, Santa Barbara.
Still slightly right of the needle, so we're going to fly to it by adjusting the heading.
Wind at 1409er.
Fly runway heading 15 right, cliff takeoff, Diamond 709 Papa Lima.
We see this needle drift over to the center. We'll turn more of a 332 heading.
Logging departure, radar contact.
Still climbing to 6,500 at 500 feet a minute. So we're good there.
Maintain 50190, Legion 383.
Our heading indicator looks good. We want to check that every 15 minutes or so.
Above departure, Diamond 709 Papa Lima, passing 900, climbing 3,000, runway heading.
Number 709 Papa Lima, Santa Barbara departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 5,000.
Climb 5,000.
So we're getting closer to the radial now that we're cutting in a little bit.
And 29
So now that we're touching the circle here, we'll go ahead and straighten up a little bit. Turn slightly more northward heading.
Direct camera alert, Diamond 709 Papa Lima.
We don't want to overshoot it, be on the other side of this needle. So we know this radial that we're trying to hold is more of a 332 heading. We want our heading to ultimately line up with the same heading, so we fly straight on the radial, we don't overshoot it. So we'll continue to turn slightly more northward, so these line up, and we'll know that we're directly on that radial and we can fly it straight into the VOR. Now that we're pretty much dead on center, we'll line up a little bit more so we don't overshoot to the other side. As you can see, according to the GPS, we are way overshot to the left already. But in my experience, the game doesn't really have the VORs and the GPS necessarily exactly lined up, but you can see that we're more or less on the right course.
That is our 4 Victor Mike, across the Seal Beach, VOR at 4,000, clear the ILS, runway 20 right approach.
Alright, we're at our altitude of 6,500, so we can go ahead and reduce power.
Approach, Diamond 814 Victor Mike.
Reduce our cruising power setting at about 2100. And once we're set there, we can go ahead and lean the mixture. So we'll listen for the RPM drop. Right about there. Push it in a little bit. More throttle. All right. So now we're lean for cruise. Heading indicator looks set.
LA Center 133.2.
And we're getting a little bit over to the left, so we'll turn this a little bit to the right. We can see out there this road is the 15. This 15 cuts right through these mountains right here, and on the other side we'll see Temecula.
Number 9837 Lima San Maria Tower. Looks like you're at Alpha 7. Are you Alpha 7 or Alpha 8?
Mona's behind us. San Diego's way behind us in the background here.
Climb maintain level 260. Number 9837 Lima.
So the highest terrain in this area is 4,700 feet, so we are just fine up here at 6,500.
Full length. You have to go full length in the future. Runway 30 clear for takeoff, right turn approved.
Copy that. Runway 30, right turn approved, 9837 Lima.
Alright, right in front of us is the town of Temecula. It'll be right up here, right as you come through this valley here. This is the 15.
Torrance ground, Twin Technum 961 Whiskey Lima, Echo, ready to taxi to runway 29 right, information Lima.
Rider 61 Whiskey Lima, Torrance ground, what's your departure request?
Straight out departure, but I'm going to be asking for flight following.
Still have a lot of room straight out. Are you planning on in right or left turnout, north or south?
I'm heading to Fullerton, so going west.
Very good. We're 961 Whiskey Lima, Torrance ground, runway 29 right, taxi to Alpha and Juliet.
Alpha Juliet 29 right, 1 Whiskey Lima.
Alright, let's see how we're doing. Looks like we're right on the heading, so we're doing good here with tracking the VOR.
Plane Magoo approach 124.7.
Our heading indicator looks good, wings flat and level, cruising a little bit slower than we'd like.
Point Magoo approach, Diamond 709 Papa Lima, 5000, direct camera radar VOR.
7th November, 709 Papa Lima. Plane Magoo approach, camera altimeter 2991.
So they're right below us, you can see the town of Temecula. Over here in the distance, you can see this is Vail Lake. It's a visual landmark, or can be a visual landmark. Alright, as we fly over Temecula, we can see F70 in front of us, or French Valley. In addition to that, to the east slightly is Skinner Lake. These are good visual landmarks to keep in mind. See, we're continuing to follow the 15. It cuts its way northward up through here. Great visual landmark to use while traveling this direction. Looks like we're doing a little bit better job lining up with the GPS in regards to the VOR navigation. Right now we're flying directly over French Valley Airport, or F70. It is an uncontrolled airport.
Houston 383, contact LA Center 126.35.
We're doing a good job holding our heading here. We're getting closer and closer to the VOR, so we're going to see this start to jump around a little bit more. What we're looking for is, as we pass over the VOR, we should see this to switch to a from. As if we stay on the same radial, instead of flying to the VOR, we're going to be flying away from its point of origin from the VOR. Alright, over to our west is Lake Elsinore. It's a little bit further away, but it's another visual landmark you can use. And directly to our east is Diamond Valley Lake. It's just slightly north of Lake Skinner, which we just passed. So here you have two lakes right next to each other. So it's very easy to notice them from the sky and see them from the map. Alright, directly ahead of us we have some pretty complicated airspace. You can see from the VFR map that it's a class Charlie. They have from ground up to 5,500 feet. Since we're at 6,500 feet, we're going to stay above their airspace, and we don't necessarily need to contact them for anything. Also, some stuff to be wary about around this area is there's some parachute activity. We can contact SoCal on 123.0 to see if they're active or not. For now, we're going to fly directly over the VOR that we're navigating by, the Homeland VOR. Then we're going to turn slightly more of a northward heading to about a 339 radial and continue over the March airspace into San Bernardino. We're a little ways out, but I guess we can go ahead and get the ATC. So the ATC for San Bernardino is going to be 124.175. 124.175.
Runway 6. ILS runway 6 approach and use.
Their tower is going to be 119.45.
And hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Yankee.
Yankee.
San Bernardino International Airport. ATC information Yankee. 1852 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 6. A. 2,900 scattered. Temperature 23. Dew point 12. Altimeter 29904. Arriving and departing
29904.
ILS runway 6 approach and use. Read backhaul runway assignments and hold short
29904.
Advise on initial contact. You have information Yankee.
Alright, so we have the ATC, we have information Yankee, altimeter is set. We'll flop over to tower, and then we'll get the ground on standby because we're going to need to talk to them eventually. So their ground is 121.8. See, we're just now passing over the VOR more or less. We still have a 2 heading. We can see the VOR is right here, so it's still going to stay 2 until we get onto the other side. But it should be, we should be right about over it, so let's see if we can spot it.
Go ahead.
Hey, that's the VOR right there.
313 Romeo, request for clearance to Santa Maria.
So we're a little to the left of the needle, so we're going to fly to the right to try to chase that needle down. So we're going to turn more of a north heading. We're real close to the VOR, as you can see from here. So this heading's probably going to jump around pretty quick, so we need to be very careful not to overshoot it. Should get close really quickly, and then we'll probably overshoot it. So we'll start
November 7313 Romeo, cleared to
turning to the left slowly. We're directly over the airspace of March right now.
November 4 Victor Mike, contact
Their sea landing
Tower.
control is 5,500 from here, so we are at 6,500, so we are above their airspace.
John Wayne Tower, Diamond 814 Victor Mike, ILS 20 right with Echo.
November 814 Victor Mike, John Wayne Tower, runway 20 right, clear to land, wind 1906.
20 right, clear to land, 814 Victor Mike.
November 3 Tango Romeo, read back correct.
3 Tango Romeo. SoCal approach, Allegiant 383, this is going to be the Angel 4, leaving 15,400, current with Foxtrot, request ILS 24 right from Circus.
Allegiant 383, lost, correction, SoCal approach at Circus, cleared ILS runway 24 right, thank you for Foxtrot.
And Circus cleared ILS 24 right approach, Allegiant 383. San Luis Tower, Piper 2 Mike Kilo, 2 Mike 1.
November 2 Mike Kilo, runway 29er, cleared to land.
Runway 29er, cleared to land, 2 Mike Kilo.
And our clearance, citation 23 Charlie Charlie, request IFR clearance to LA International with information Quebec.
November 23 Charlie Charlie, Santa Barbara clearance, clear to the Los Angeles airport. On departure, fly runway heading, radar vectors, Wang, then as filed.
climb and maintain 3000, expect 1000
we can see pretty much
10 minutes.
right as we clear this small mountain range here, we're going to be outside of the airspace of March.
Clear to Los Angeles National, the runway heading, radar vector squawk, then as filed. Climb and maintain 3000, expect 1000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 120.55, squawk 2515, citation.
So this mountain range is useful to note here that pretty much outside of that is outside of the airspace of March. When we get past them a ways, we'll go ahead and contact San Bernardino then for clearance to land. We already have the ATC, information Yankee, so we're good to go there.
Sure, 50.
We're pretty much at the edge of the airspace, so we can go ahead and contact San Bernardino.
November 37 Lima, contact Los Angeles Center 135.5.
San Bernardino Tower, Cessna 733 Yankee Victor 6500, 10 miles south of the field, requesting full stop with Yankee 3 Delta Kilo.
Whiskey Lima, Torrance Tower, make right downwind departure, runway 29 right, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 29 right, 1 Whiskey Lima.
Aircraft calling San Bernardino, call sign only.
733 Delta Kilo.
November 733 Delta Kilo, San Bernardino Tower, enter right downwind runway 6, report midfield.
Right downwind for runway 6, reporting midfield 3 Delta Kilo.
Legion 591 with Lima, ready to exit.
Legion 591, Las Vegas ground information, Mike current altimeter 29901, runway 19 left, taxi via Delta.
519 left via Delta, pick up Mike, Legion 591.
Legion 383, contact SoCal approach 128.5.
SoCal approach 128.5, Legion 383. SoCal approach, Legion 383, descending on the ILS 24 right approach course, leaving 7,100.
Legion 383, aircraft SoCal approach, roger.
Gunwine Tower, dominate 14 Victor Mike, clear 20 right at hotel, taxi to the tower.
November 4 Victor Mike, taxi to parking via Bravo, monitor ground.
Via Bravo, monitor ground, 14 Victor Mike.
There's the airport right in front of us.
Santa Barbara ground, November
So we're going to enter a right downwind
terminal ready
and land on runway 6.
Back.
Entering here, turning base, and then final.
November 733 Tango Romeo, Santa Barbara ground, runway 15 left.
Alright, we are midfield for runway 6 right. So we'll go ahead and contact tower. San Bernardino Tower, Cessna 733 Delta Kilo is midfield for runway 6, 3 Delta Kilo.
November 3 Delta Kilo, runway 6 clear to land with 2305.
Runway 6 clear to land, 3 Delta Kilo.
November 23 Charlie Charlie, Santa Barbara ground information, Romeo current altimeter 2990, runway 15 right, taxi via Charlie.
15 right via Charlie, we'll get to Romeo. Citation 23 Charlie.
We're in the wide arc, 10 degrees of flaps.
Tino Tower.
Keep that nose down.
Tango Foxtrot, Santa Ana Canyon, inbound with Echo.
Look for the 45-degree angle
November 709
of our touchdown point.
Contact SoCal approach 135.4.
Start that 700 feet a minute descent.
Legion 591 to Vegas Tower.
That's about 45 degrees angle.
November 4 Victor Mike, pass for the I-6.
Keep that descent coming.
4 Victor Mike, thanks a lot, guys.
Legion 591 Las Vegas Tower, wind 3108, runway 19 left, clear for takeoff.
Oh, no, let's clear for takeoff, Legion 591. SoCal approach, 709 Papa Lima, level 5000 with Papa.
November 709 or Papa
Once we get that
Lima,
6 lined up, we'll know we're
approach Long
perpendicular
Beach,
to the runway.
The
Look, see,
Ontario
there it
altimeter
is.
2901.
20 degrees of flaps.
November 1 Whiskey Lima,
Start our
contact
base.
SoCal departure.
Contact SoCal departure, 1 Whiskey Lima.
Bernardino Tower, 227 Tango Foxtrot, Santa Ana Canyon, inbound with Echo.
Keep that nose coming down. About 500 feet on the ground. One white, one red. Looking good. We're not lined up at all, but what can you say? Alright, there we go. Use some rudders, get lined up, pull the power back.
Tower, enter left downwind,
3 notches of
runway
flaps.
report midfield.
Left downwind 26 left, report midfield, 227 Tango Foxtrot.
SoCal
Try to get
departure,
lined up a
Technam
little bit better with the rudder.
At 3,000, climbing to 3,500.
Airspeed's looking good, right at 60.
November 961 Whiskey Lima, SoCal departure, radar contact.
Easy. There we go. Alright, runway is made. Power idle. Hold it off. And nose wheels down. Nice. Alright, give it some throttle. Carb heat in. Mixture coming back. We'll go flaps up. Landing lights off. Taxi lights on. Strobe lights off. Looks like we're clear of the runway, and I'll contact tower. San Bernardino Tower, Cessna 733 Delta Kilo is clear runway 6, ready for taxi 3 Delta Kilo.
November 3 Delta Kilo, taxi to parking via Bravo Charlie, monitor ground.
Taxi to parking via Bravo Charlie, monitor ground 3 Delta Kilo. Alright, we'll switch over to ground, 121.8.
Departure, citation 23 Charlie at 3,000, 153 heading.
Alright, thank you for joining me today from this flight from Ramona to San Bernardino. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, aviators, so long.